Can you describe your role and your experience working with students with autism?
Sure. So I've been doing this for 23 years, and a large portion of that has been working with students with autism, but it hasn't solely been that. So there have been clusters of students who I've worked with that have autism. But currently, I support a program that most of the students do have autism. And so basically what that looks like is classroom programming, individual support, coaching and modeling for, the teachers or the other adults who are working with those students. It could be implementing visual strategies in the classroom or any other behavior strategies that may need to be included, creating behavior plans in terms of how to support the student who might be struggling with their behaviors, just a variety of different ways that I've, worked with students with autism.
Thank you. My next question is, how do tools like PACS, sign language, and assistive technology help students communicate?
So while I don't create those communication strategies, I do aid in the implementation, as well as, when I am working with students, if they do have any sort of communication strategies that they use, I ensure that those are used in my interactions with them and then encourage that peer interaction. And so what those strategies do, it allows the student to be able to communicate in the way that they need to, and it reduces the barriers to communication, which then can reduce any challenges or limitations that they might have in their interactions with others. So I think it just creates an equal ground for that student who may need to communicate in different ways with everybody else.
Thank you. The next question is, in your experience, how does AAC support students in building social communication skills?
So I think the key is that it allows them to communicate with others. So if they're, not able to communicate with words, if they are able to use an AAC system or even visuals, then it allows that communication. And with not being able to communicate with others in a way that they're understood, then it becomes harder to be able to develop those social skills that they need in their communication with others.
Okay, thank you. And how can AAC help students become more independent and speak up for their needs, like self-advocacy?
Well, it's just modeling how they use it and then teaching them the self-advocacy skills through their augmentative communication devices, and then being able to reinforce that they can speak up for themselves. But without that ability to communicate with others, they can't self-advocate. So it involves modeling, guiding, reinforcing, and then allowing them the opportunity to do it themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you. And how do you support students in understanding and following social norms like turn-taking, greeting, or conversations?
In general, it would be through, teaching the explicit skill, modeling, reinforcing, allowing opportunities for generalization of that skill. And if they have any augmentative communication, you're teaching it through that type of communication. And so it could be through visuals, social stories, adding it, visuals onto their AAC that will allow them those opportunities to build and practice the skills.
Oh, that's a great idea. How can educators create an inclusive classroom that supports all forms of communication?
I think that they can create a classroom that is inclusive just by allowing the opportunities for students to communicate in the way that they need to. So not everyone is the same, and not everyone needs the exact same thing. So giving the students what they need in order to be successful, whether that's removing barriers, allowing opportunities for success. So allowing opportunities for those students who might have some communication differences, the opportunity to communicate in the way that best suits their needs.
Okay. What strategies do you recommend for encouraging peer interaction and friendship for students using AAC?
Modeling, so definitely modeling, so encouraging the use of the AAC. I know a lot of students sometimes are reluctant. So there's students who really sort of are they really use their AAC, and then there's some students who are reluctant to use it. So just encouraging, reinforcing, allowing the opportunities for them to see the success in using it, and that when they're able to communicate, that they're heard and that their needs are being met. So I think it's just providing modeling, reinforcing, generalizing, and then opportunities to do it independently.
Okay. How can teachers and families work together to support a student's communication development?
Generally, it's just, providing opportunities where they can communicate. And then when they're communicating their needs and their wants and needs, that you're listening to them and they feel listened to, regardless of how they're communicating that. So, they want to be heard and they want to feel like they're being listened to. So really listening and allowing those opportunities to be able to practice those communication skills. So modeling, providing opportunities, generalizing those skills, and then reinforcing when they've done it, like when they've accomplished the goal.
Oh, that's a good idea. I get it. And the last question I have, what advice would you give to new educators who want to support social communication and self-advocacy in students with autism?
So it's building the skills, whether that is through explicit instruction, so teaching the skill, then giving them opportunities to model the skill, and then they have the opportunity to practice the skill and then generalize it into a natural setting. So it's kind of a progression of building the skill that they want. So whether that's through, it could be through a social story, it could be through role playing, it could be through just gathering some students together who you can create opportunities to practice the skill, and then reinforcing when they've done it correctly, and then correcting. So if they haven't been able to generalize the skill, then you go back, you start from the beginning, and then you continue building that generalizing the skill. So being able to generalize is really important for students with autism.
Thank you so much for your time and for all the tips and the good advices you give me. I will definitely use it while I'm practicing as an EA.